evening, everyone, and welcome to another I'll try that again. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of TED Excellence, the show in which I stumble over my own beginning all the way through to the end. Probably. And I come to you live from my Corona bunker on the moon with Dogcat Fox, a Pepperjack, and all of you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome again to Thursday, tempestuous Thursday. Yes, we return once again to the wonderful world of off-brand TED Talks for education and enjoyment. I call it Ingenucation. That's what I mean. I hope you're all doing well this evening. There's somebody in particular, before I begin, that I would like to say hello and wish a happy birthday to, and that is Keever Dam's mother, Keever Mom. So happy birthday, Keever Mom. This one's for you. And a 1. And a 2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Keever Mom. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Keever Mom. Hope you're doing well. You have a fine daughter. There you go. Hopefully that gave her a smile on her special day. But now, who's joining me elsewise for our broadcast tonight? Dr. Funkenstein's Ghost, hello. Advocatus Diaboli, hello. Shell D, hello. Funtime Bats, hello. Noah Asensio, hello. Jaeger Pony, hello. Who else is here? Somnamnul Nation. Hello. Mike R. Hello. Keever Dam herself. Hello. Who else is here? Smudge. Hello. Attack Alpaca. Hello. John Miller. Hello. Keldrig. Hello. Derek LaRue. Derek LaRue, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, as always, so much for your support and generosity. Thank you. Appreciate it. Hope you're having a good Thursday. Hope you enjoy the show. Thanks so much. Who else is here that I already see? Meh is here. Well, thankfully, Meh is here. Roger Reynolds, hello. And did I miss anybody? I may have. I hope not. If I missed you, if you're lurking, if you're in the future, hello. Hope you're all doing well. Oh, the Useless Cook, hello. Yeah, so tonight, kind of a episode brought on by inspiration of current events. As many of you may or may not know, the company formerly known as Facebook, sort of like the artist formerly known as Prince, Meta, earlier this week began the process of laying off 10,000 more employees. And I say more because it was just a few months ago that they laid off 11,000 some odd employees. But in addition to the 10,000 employees they're laying off this week, they're also canceling 5,000 job openings. So they've effectively eliminated 15,000 jobs from their company within the last several days. And when I came across our presentation tonight in the postings to the TEDx YouTube channel, I thought to myself, yes, there's that thing that Mark Zuckerberg renamed his whole company to on the prospect that that was going to be the next big thing. Meta, a metaverse that he's effectively dumped how many tens of billions of dollars into, and what do we have so far? Last I checked, it looked like a VR game from 2007. Heck, I think Star Wars Galaxies looks better than whatever I've seen so far from Meta and their Metaverse. But yeah, so the Metaverse, what is it? Why is it? Where is it? I don't know. I've done a couple of videos on this in the past. I've seen some documentary or editorial things about the Metaverse. I'm still not sold. I have some thoughts on it, and I'm sure we'll get to them as we proceed. But what is the title of tonight's episode? How to create your own Metaverse in Web3. Okay, so before we begin, I wanted to give my sort of quasi predictions. It's going to be one or a combination of two different things. This is my guess. Either our speaker is going to tell us like, hey, with these common household items and an internet connection, you can make your own quote unquote metaverse on your home network. right? Something like that. Like here's the steps to sort of do it in a very rudimentary way, blah. Okay. Or there's that, except it's not so much everyday household items as it is some proprietary product, platform, application, or something that our speaker has a connection to. Because I have a distinct feeling this may be a glorified sales presentation. Now, again, as always, I haven't watched this. I haven't listened to it. I don't know anything about our speaker. I don't have any other context outside of the title, and that it has to deal with the metaverse. So that's it. So we'll find out together. And as we proceed, depending on what our speaker says, I have probably some more things to say about the whole metaverse concept, or at least how I understand it. But then my understanding may be wrong. And that's why I watch these things, to be educated. Do you conceivably have my mind changed, or at the very least, be more well-informed about the subjects that I'm curious about? So with that, a couple more hellos. Big Dave 1066, Kyle Mack, and Brett Ide. Did I miss anybody else? Probably. If I did, I apologize. But, Resolute Germ, there you are. All right, so let's proceed. Tonight's bingo card is bingo card B. B as in blocks, like Roblox. If you'd like to join in on the poll each week to choose the bingo card, be sure to follow me on Twitter at scribe_light. Also, please be sure to direct your attention at some point to the top of the chat box where Kiever Dam has helpfully provided the links to the fundraisers for our friends Moonshock and Angry Illinoisian. Both of them have experienced some medical catastrophes, just to put it mildly, in recent years, and they and their family could certainly use the help if you have a couple of bucks to spare. Angelverse, hello. Miranda Stone, hello. All right, so this one clocks in at just over 16 minutes. Oh boy, we better get into this. So we'll start off with a couple of seconds for a sound test. You guys tell me if you can hear it, and then we'll proceed as soon as I acknowledge this from, come on, chat, catch up. Thank you, Kiever Dam. Also, speaking of my mom, if you didn't hear me say it earlier, she likes Seinfeld. What's up with this metaverse? Right? What do people think about the metaverse? That's my best Seinfeld. It's not good. It's not good. But maybe if your mom hears that, she'll laugh. Brittany Holland, hello. All right, here we go, guys. Into the metaverse, or our own metaverse.
There's a creator in all of us.
Oh, is this back to intelligent design by any chance? You guys hear that okay? Jaeger Pony says, sounds good. Advocatus Diabli says, I can hear it and see it. Well, that's both good. All right.
We spend a lot of our time and energy thinking about the perfect post and comment on social media.
I don't belabor those nearly as much as I used to. Although, if I'm going to put something up that's snarky, I hope it's at least good.
We make music. We make art.
Yeah, okay.
And we create websites and apps, sometimes for work, sometimes just for fun.
I haven't created a website since, like Angel Fire? I think it's the last time I created a website for some club or something using Angel Fire. Remember Angel Fire? Is that still around? Can you go to that website without just being bombarded with like pop-up ads?
Now today, I'm going to show you how to channel the creator inside you to participate in the metaverse.
Oh boy. Okay, I am ready. I love being creative. I love the creative impulse. Lay it on me.
In a brief amount of time,
at least 16 minutes,
I'll be able to show you how you can create your own metaverse, usually probably in under 5 minutes.
What? A metaverse inside of 5 minutes? What? That sounds impossible.
Now, first question to ask is, why do you actually want to do something with the metaverse? What's the big deal about the metaverse?
That is the question that is on my mind. Because so far, and I'm happy to be corrected by our speaker as we proceed, but so far, the metaverse to me seems, sounds, and looks a heck of a lot like a glorified MMORPG. And here's the thing I cannot help but think about every time I consider that possibility. How many MMORPGs lack an exploit lack a bug, lack some kind of game-breaking mechanism. Just as a brief example, Amazon Studios, they had their big premiere MMO, like a year ago now, or maybe a year and a half or something, New World, right? So here's a company that has unlimited funds, unlimited means by which to recruit and attract the best minds in game development and MMOs and programming and art and the whole 9 yards, right? And you'd think that something with that much money behind it and creativity would come out and be just like the greatest thing since World of Warcraft. But what happened within the first week or two of it being released? Yeah, there were totally game-breaking bugs. There were duplication issues with items that people were starting to exploit. The in-game economy was going absolutely haywire all over the place. Game balance was off and so on. And you can say, yeah, well, it's a very complex game. And things go wrong and they have to patch it out and so on. It's like, yeah, I get it. I mean, there's hardly an MMO out there that doesn't have those issues, right? Well, now imagine that it's an MMO, except it's dealing with your actual bank account, your actual personal information, your actual life, because you've now plugged yourself into an online economy through a metaverse managed by some corporation somewhere. Except it's just 1,000 times more complex than your average MMO. And as we know, the more complexity you add to something, the less risky it becomes. So yeah, that's sort of my thoughts on the metaverse right now. Thank you, Angelverse, for the bowing, award-winning, giving a dog a bone, dog cat fox, or whatever. Yeah, dog cat fox.
Wowie, wow, wow.
That was a Weebo Jones dog cat fox. Thank you so much, Angelverse. Anyway, sorry, you were talking about making my own metaverse in 5 minutes.
Now, all of us have been hearing a lot about the metaverse, but not everyone sort of really understands what it is.
It's true. I don't. Explain it to me.
So I'm going to spend a brief moment just to do a quick recap. Right?
Okay.
So you look at the history of computing.
Uh-huh.
The history of computing is actually the evolution of how we use computers and computers itself.
Oh, I thought, I see. I was sure that he'd harken back to, say, Neuromancer from William Gibson and talk about the idea of cyberspace, or even show a clip from Keanu Reeves and Johnny Mnemonic, or maybe even Lawnmower Man. Because when I think of what the metaverse supposedly is, or Ready Player One or something like that, those are the things I think of. But okay, sure, regular computing.
The first paradigm shift happened in the 1980s with the personal computer, when computers became affordable and small enough that you could take it from a really, really big office onto your desk.
Uh-huh.
The second paradigm shift of computing happened in the 1990s with the internet and web revolution. And that revolution was all about making information readily accessible and free for all publishers and all audience.
Okay, so I know this is just annoying me a little bit. The conception of the metaverse, the idea of the metaverse, I should say, was conceived of more or less as cyberspace back in the William Gibson books, and perhaps in publications prior to that, but at least the ones that were most readily, I think, applicable to what we think of the oncoming metaverse now, or a VR, artificial world or something. Yeah, it's in the pages of Neuromancer. So yeah, these things were conceptualized far before most of the steps that you're looking at right now. Okay, well, where are you going with this?
And of course, there is the smartphone revolution that started in 2007 when the first iPhone came out. And that paradigm shift, the main benefit there is portability.
Yes. But these are all variations on the same thing, right? Access to more and more information processing and accessibility power. Sure, portability. Great. How portable is the metaverse? You're still having to stand in a room with a pair of goggles strapped to your head, right?
So that we can carry our devices with us 24/7. We can access all the information in the world just through our pocket or our purse. Now, this next revolution, though, this next paradigm shift of computing is not about any of these in the past.
they're related though, right? Because one begat the next. They're not related at all? Then why bring them up?
It's about what I call immersion.
Oh, what you call immersion? Oh my gosh! Wait, you call it no, wait. That's not a new buzzword or buzz phrase. That's the leading edge of one. But immersion is, no, you can't call it immersion. It's just immersion. Okay, well, while I'm on the subject, let's go over to the bingo card real quick and just refresh ourselves on what we're listening for. Let's see, as I have to actually set up the bingo card. I got so discombobulated earlier. Let's see, anecdote that probably never happened. He hasn't given us an anecdote yet. Self-vilification or wretchedness, no. Systemic or institutional, not in the way that I would expect before circling the square, so we'll wait on that. Weightless example. I mean, if the metaverse has nothing to do with the personal computer, internet and web and smartphone, because you just said that they're not related, then maybe. I'll wait a second or three. Word salad, perhaps. Leaves out vital context, not noticeably yet. Collectivizes own demographic, not yet. White supremacy, no. A list, not a formal list yet. Those three examples up on the board, yeah. Privilege, not yet. Sales pitch for product or service, I have a distinct feeling sooner or later. Plays victim, no. Attempt to coin new buzzword, buzz phrase. Yeah, sorry. Immersion is not a new buzzword or buzz phrase. Something I like to call. Yeah, no. Wage gap, not yet. Patriarchy, no. Feminism, no. Mind reading or assumes motives. We'll see. Diversity, equity, and inclusion, not yet. Marginalized or marginalization, new. Argumentative non sequitur. We'll wait and see. Childhood or family anecdote, not yet. Contradicts own point or argument. Benevolent condescension. And lastly, microaggressions or unconscious bias. So far, nothing on the board, but I think we're getting close to one or two squares. And if you have arguments for squares to be circled that I don't end up circling before the end of the presentation, hold on to them, because we'll all have our time in due time.
Let me kind of show you how it works, right? So what happens in this next paradigm shift of an immersive computing environment is essentially the metaverse, right?
No, not right. You have to explain it first. Why are you asking me?
So what's going to happen is a lot of us can put on our VR goggles, or
which just everybody has and can afford, obviously.
AR glasses. And instead of seeing the internet on a screen that I hold in my fingers or sitting on my laptop, the internet is going to be basically wrapped all around you, right? All your 360 vision, top and down. And this.
Yeah, it's called cyberspace. It's a concept that's been out there since at least the 1980s. Yes, Johnny Mnemonic, Lawnmower Man, Neuromancer, and on and on. Hell, Reboot. Anybody remember that cartoon Reboot? Yeah, you strap a television screen to your face, and now you're in the metaverse. I played 3D VR games back in the 90s in an arcade. So what?
This alternative digital reality is going to be so compelling and immersive that it's going to feel like you're inside the internet.
No, it's not. No, you're going to be standing in a room with a pair of goggles on your head. Until they invent, and I'm sure they're working on it if they haven't already, until they invent like sensory feedback suits and at-home sensory deprivation tanks you can float in while you're doing whatever you're doing in the metaverse, you're not going to feel like you're actually there. You're just got a pair of goggles on your head. And even then, but anyway, thank you, Chicago Mike. He stepped off the red dot. Isn't that illegal? I would love it if TEDx's and TED Talks were effectively like sumo wrestling matches. And if you step outside the circle, you lose, like your time's over. You have to give the presentation within your time frame within the red circle. But unfortunately, we don't have Thunderdome rules like that. But if I were running a TEDx event, oh, you bet. You step outside the circle, I start docking time on your clock or something. Yeah. Thank you, Chicago Mike.
opposed to just seeing the internet on a screen. And
no. You are seeing the internet on a screen. It's just a screen that is strapped to your eyeballs. What is in those goggles? Screens.
As opposed to just seeing the internet on a screen. And during this process, you can do all sorts of interesting things, right? So you can travel to Japan.
No, you can't.
Or France.
No, you can't.
Virtually.
Virtually. Well, I can do that right now, technically.
You can collaborate with your colleagues as if you're in the same room.
I can do that right now.
Rather than just seeing them as chat heads on a video conference.
You can just see them as avatars on a screen strapped to your eyeballs.
And you can do all sorts of interesting entertainment, like sports.
Not real sports.
Games.
Sure.
In a much more immersive 360 and kind of inside the game kind of a way.
VR gaming in one way, shape, or form has been around since the 90s. Okay. This is me talking to the speaker as though he could hear me. I need you to convince me of the utility of the metaverse, not the novelty of it.
So that's the metaverse. The next
That's it? Okay, well, I think we're already done before we begin.
Next generation internet that's going to offer a much more immersive experience. Now, that's great, sounds great, but you're probably asking, what's in it for me?
That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking for you to sell me on the utility of it. Because otherwise, I've been there, I've done that, and standing in my living room with a pair of goggles strapped to my face, I'm eventually going to get claustrophobic and want to take a break. And then I have to realize, oh, wait, I'm still in my living room. Except I always knew I was in my living room because I'm in my living room.
Right. So how can you get involved in this next phase of the internet?
No, you still need to convince me it's worthwhile in the first place.
And the simple way to think about it is, in all the previous waves, a lot of us have been involved in many, many different ways, right? So since the 1990s, a lot of us have created a website.
Sure. Angel Fire, Squarespace, yes, a website.
Usually we create at least one website in our life, right? Our wedding, we usually, you and your spouse or your partner usually create a website together.
Sure. Or you create a website for being a Star Wars nerd or something. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Or, you work on your company's website, or you're a student, you want to showcase a portfolio, or, you run a restaurant.
Yeah, we get it. Okay, we get it.
Or a salon. People create websites for all kinds of interesting reasons.
Yes.
And of course, in the mobile age, a lot of us have either created our own app or work at companies that have, that are creating apps. Very, very normal.
Right, and all of those things aren't related to the metaverse because you said a minute ago they're not related, so what?
Now, but the really interesting thing about this next phase of the internet, of the metaverse, is everyone who has ever built a website, or who wants to build a website, or everyone who has built an app or wants to build an app, all of those people, plus all these businesses, are going to want to create their own metaverse.
Yes, it's going to be like streaming services are now. You're going to have the Facebook metaverse. You're going to have the Amazon metaverse. You're going to have the Rockstar Games metaverse, and on and on and on. And each one will have its own subscription fee or its own free option with ads, and on and on and on, if it ever becomes viable in the first place, because you still need to describe the utility. What does it do that I can't do now without having television screens strapped to my eyeballs?
So you can think of sort of building your own metaverse in the same way as, oh yeah, me or my company or my business have built a website or have built an app. You're going to be building your own metaverse one way or another.
You need to convince me of this. Just because it's too obvious already, I'm circling sales pitch for product or service on the board, and likewise circling free space. I'm on the verge of circling word salad, but we'll wait a minute.
But here's a big challenge, right? So the challenge is, right now, building your own metaverse is extremely difficult. And here's just a quick, it's an open source project. And essentially, when you create your own metaverse right now, you're running against some pretty hardcore programming.
I would assume so. So tell me, can I build my own metaverse using the editing tools from Doom Eternal, building a level, and then putting on my VR goggles? Is that a metaverse? Or is that not a metaverse?
Usually you have to be an expert in either C# or C++. You have to be familiar with these gaming engines like Unity and Unreal. And then you're building essentially like a game, right? It's pretty hard to build a video game.
Yeah, it's an MMO. It is a glorified MMO. Until you convince me otherwise, that's all it is.
So right now, the barrier to actually to participate in a metaverse as a creator, rather than just as a spectator, is really high. And we envision a completely different universe where the barrier to creating your own metaverse should be as easy as creating your own website, and definitely a lot easier than creating your own app.
Why? Why would I want to create my own metaverse? Because here's the thing, who's going to use it? To what end? Explain to me why my company needs its own metaverse. We're a very niche company. Why?
That's the kind of vision we have, because we believe
Who's we?
That the metaverse is the next generation internet, and its purpose is to benefit all of us.
I don't think it's necessarily here to benefit all of us. I think it's here to benefit corporations that own the proprietary rights to the servers that they're running for their metaverse, that are going to push their ads and their products and their services. But hey, if you want to have a virtual mall, you've got Amazon already.
Right? Not just a small group of people who have somehow mastered the way to create and produce.
But then what's the...
There are two parts that I want to sort of focus on how of this talk today. How we can create and participate in this metaverse.
Well, it's the creation part that I'm most curious about. Like, I'm no programmer. I've been using computers since I was a child, but I probably couldn't program my way out of a paper bag. So, but I have made a website before with someone else's tools. So tell me, how do I do this? Now,
first step is, of course, to create. Now, as we talked about, right? Like, okay, I don't know coding. I don't know C#. I don't know C++. What can I do? So let me show you.
Okay.
Double.
Never heard of it.
Available at double.store.
Are you connected to this website by any chance?
Is one of the world's first, no-code metaverse creation tool.
Okay, so it's Metaverse AngelFire. Got it.
And by no-code, I mean you don't have to know programming.
Yeah,
what Double does is allow you to create your own online store in the metaverse.
Wait, I create an online store in the metaverse? So I'm not creating my own metaverse?
Simply by dragging and dropping, uploading media, typing text, right?
So it's GeoCities?
As easy as blogging. Now, with Double, any merchant or anyone can create their own metaverse store, but it's not just a store. It could be a metaverse gallery, metaverse space, metaverse classroom.
You're showing us a website. So I'm going to a website where I can use that website's tools to create a web page storefront in that website's metaverse. Do I have that right?
A wide range of metaverse spaces is possible.
Can you show me the end result of this somehow?
So if you look at this, I'm just going to prove to you how easy it is by running through this quick demo video of using Double.
Using Double. Again, is this your business? I mean, I'm not dissing you if it is, speaking rhetorically, of course. If TEDx has been used as a personal sales pitch platform since I started doing this, so that's not shocking at all. Are you going to, if our speaker has a connection to this business, either as an employee or as an owner or as an investor, I guess my question is he going to clarify that? If he doesn't, if he's just sort of like that NFT guy a couple of weeks ago, he's just a fanboy of the service, okay, that's fine too. But it seems very specific. And
here you'll see, step one, super easy, right? Claim your store name. So whatever business or whatever space name you want to get, you just type it in.
You know what? I'm going to go to this right now. Let's see, the double.com, is that it? Was that the website? Because I go to double.com, it takes me to a slot machine site. Hold on. Double Metaverse. Digital twins. Did I get the wrong address? Did I type in the wrong address? I must have. Okay, I'll pay attention to the video and try to. Oh no, wait, that's the video. It's just called Double, right? Double. I thought it was .com. Is it double.net? Oh. Okay, Double Metaverse creation. I don't know. Metaverse using. I can't find this. Not easily, not in the 30 seconds I'm spending on it. So I'll just wait and see if I can snag this again.
Second step, you actually pick your own theme, right? So this metaverse that you see, it's accessible both through a regular web browser as well as inside VR goggles.
This looks like a Doom 2 WAD file from 1997. Are you kidding me? I mean, okay, it's basics, whatever you want. Oh, really? Okay, double.store, there it is. Okay, build new opportunities in the metaverse. Start now. Okay, start now. Oh boy, I'm going to start now. Choose a name for your store. Okay, Scribe Light. All right. And what? Choose a theme for your store. I'll walk through the steps as he goes. Okay, pick your theme.
So you can pick different themes, or if you don't like these themes, you can upload your own theme. So you can customize the sky, you can customize the wall, you can customize the ground, all of it.
Okay. What theme do I want to go for? Wait, double.store wants to use my microphone. No. What? No. Let's see, do I want a sci-fi theme or a city? Is there a moon theme? Is there a moon base? There's got to be a moon base, right? Something like a moon base. A space station, something. Ooh, what's that? Is that an outer space theme? Is it? Oh, it's loading. Ooh, it is kind of outer spacey and moony. Oh, okay. Oh, and I'm seeing the exact same thing he's showing up there. It's the blank room with the R2D2 and the sword, and there's a little ET robot thing waving at me, and it's commandeered my mouse, and I can't move my mouse off this thing. There we go. Hit the escape button. Okay, that's scary. I'm not going to mess with that anymore. Okay, anyway, walk me through your sales pitch again.
And you can see roaming around the Metaverse store, you actually, the user is immersed in this environment where they can look at various products.
Yeah, I'm totally immersed in that. Okay.
Right, or items. So super easy. And
yeah, it's super easy. It looks like I'm playing Marathon from freaking like 1995 or something. Or what's other Pathways into Darkness. Anybody here know Pathways into Darkness? If you do, you might be old. Thank you, John Miller. Double the length of your Metaverse in 5 easy pay. Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry, dude. Your sales pitch is really faltering now.
Last step was, of course, save what you have created.
Sure.
So literally in under 1 minute, you can create your own Metaverse store.
No, I'm just using a template 3D modeling thing with graphics from freaking Super Nintendo.
That works both on VR goggles and on normal web browsers.
Then what's the point? If I can use it on normal web browsers, why would I want to pay extra for VR goggles?
Now, second question to ask is, hey, what about the products we see inside? How can we customize that too?
No. I assume that you can. No, I want to know, why would I bother doing this? Where is the market for this? If I have a store, if I actually have goods to sell, right? Okay, like physical goods. Are we talking physical goods, or are we just talking like metaverse goods? Because I know that there's a market for those too. I remember hearing stories about people paying ridiculous amounts of real world money to get a sword on Ultima Online or something. So if there's a market for that, that's fine. But if I actually have a business, I'm selling physical products. Why wouldn't I just have a website? Why do I need a metaverse storefront? And whose metaverse is this storefront going into? How many clients does Double have? How many people are actively logged into Double on any given part of the day with their goggles on, browsing random shops set up through your app? And I say your because I'm assuming it's your, but I don't know.
The answer is absolutely yes, right? So again, you're at Double inside the dashboard.
Yeah, I have a merch store for my channel. I'm not even a big channel. I have a merch store. I set it up. I created products that people can buy. A lot of people have. They sent me pictures of the mugs and the t-shirts and things. Yeah, okay. Why do I need a metaverse equivalent of that?
And super simple. You click the Add Item button. I have a friend who happens to own a Bored Ape, so let's...
Was he the guy in the previous TEDx? Actually, no, he sold his Bored Ape for $12,000. I can't believe I remember that.
Create a Metaverse gallery with his Bored Ape. He just uploads the Bored Ape.
Am I supposed to be seeing this? Does this mean that I now have access to something that somebody else owns? I asked this question the last time too.
Types in a bunch of descriptions. You can say list prices, but I know he's not interested in selling because he's a long-term art collector.
Art collector? Well, art is where you find it, I suppose.
He pins his Bored Ape onto a particular location in the Metaverse store.
Oh, that's the Metaverse store? That's the floor plan for the Metaverse store? What's this broken wall bit there? I don't know. Seems like shoddy construction work.
Right, and then he hits save.
Okay.
Then he previews it, and you'll see the same theme store appear, but right now with different products, right? You can see the Bored Ape roaming around. Yeah. And then on the right, you'll see that little thing called a portal. We're going to go into what it is a little bit later.
I think that just takes you back to a main menu. It's the metaverse equivalent of going back to the main menu.
But you can see the whole process is super simple.
Yes. Start talking numbers. Give me a success story through this process that someone set up their metaverse storefront and they actually made significant sales through people using the metaverse. Not the website, the metaverse.
Right, and this metaverse space or store or gallery, whatever you call it, is literally from start to finish, basically like a 1 or 2 minute job.
Yeah, it seems a bit too simple.
But that's only step one.
Oh.
Right, so what happens after you have created your own metaverse store?
Well, conceivably, you have to market it so you can get some customers and sell some products.
Well, let's think back to a little bit about the app or website world, right?
Okay.
After you've created your wedding website or your restaurant website, what do you do?
Marketing.
You usually take the link and you share it with all your friends.
Yes, friends and family marketing. Yes, word of mouth.
right? Or you ask your friends who has, like a really, really highly ranked website to link to you so that, your website gets better ranking as well.
Yeah. Well, does Double offer any in-universe advertising if I make an account and pay the fee? I mean, I would assume that they would carry the burden a little bit of letting people know my store exists in the metaverse, right?
So the way the web works is there are all these websites and they're able to all link to one another, and users can click from one website to another just by clicking links, right?
Yes, that's what we've been able to do since the 90s, more or less, yes.
That is what made the internet and web so successful.
Yeah.
So the second step of what you need to do for your metaverse is to connect what you've created to the rest of the community.
Yes. Well, I would, again, presume that that is an automatic and inherent service offered by, in this case, Double, since I'm creating a storefront in their metaverse, not the metaverse, right?
Okay. And I'm going to show you, again, it's super, super simple.
Is simple an attractive idea? I mean, if it's not, I don't know. And again, I keep thinking back to like Angel Fire, GeoCities, that kind of thing, Lycos.
Right. It's basically the equivalent of creating a sort of like a link, what we call a portal.
A URL.
Right. A portal for your metaverse so that you can connect your metaverse through a portal you create to other people's metaverses.
A URL to a home page.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it turns out there was a project called MHTTP. And if the name sounds familiar,
it doesn't.
It's because we all know HTTP, right? Without the M.
Does the M stand for metaverse? Should I have said spoiler alert? I'm just guessing.
HTTP is the web protocol that allows pages to link to one another.
Yes.
And it's basically in front of every single website URL that we use every day.
Yes.
So MHTTP is almost like a metaverse equivalent.
Oh, you don't, boy. Sure had me there for a second. I was sure it meant meatloaf.
A metaverse version of HTTP.
So
it's the world's first, what do you call it, sort of metaverse teleportation protocol.
Except that you have it displayed on a web page, so you can still access it through a web browser, right?
Which means you can connect different metaverses through these portals, and then your users would be able to travel through a portal from metaverse A to metaverse B.
So from one website to another website. Ay, caramba. All right. Well, thank you, Poker Pierce. Hola, fellow URL enthusiasts. Have you heard of a URL before? Have you heard of hyperlinks? Well, our hyperlinks are attached to images. If you click on the image using your mouse, I'm sorry, I mean your VR handset, it's totally different, guys. It's the future. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of technical details. If you're interested, I suggest you go to mhtp.org to read more.
I am at least passively interested, but I tend to try to rely on the enthusiasts and the advocates and the experts to educate me. So proceed.
But again, I'm going to show you sort of like a quick video demo of how easy it is to create a portal and to connect your metaverse.
You mean create a URL?
To others.
Oh, okay.
So this is kind of like a dashboard that one of the project developers have quickly created.
Okay.
And I know a lot of you miss traveling to Japan or to France.
Yeah, I often travel to Japan or France, just reflects. But before the recent troubles, before the recent unpleasantness, boy, I used to travel to Japan and France all the time.
So here's an example of actually creating a portal that would land you in a place called Toryland, right? Which is like a fictitious metaverse.
Toryland? I bet there's a whole swath of people from the UK that wouldn't want to be in Toryland.
That
is Laborland far away?
Looks like these Torii gates. If you remember going to Japan and you visit these Shinto.
Oh yeah, I remember going. What? Okay, I have never been to Japan. Never been, or Paris or France. I don't know.
Temples. They have these orange gates that kind of look like like this, right?
Gates that look like this, like big square. Okay.
So all you do is you sort of like very simple. The dashboard.
Very simple. You type in a piece of text and then attach a hyperlink to that text. Oh boy.
Type in the name of the metaverse.
Uh-huh.
Right? And you sort of type in this destination link, whether it's HTTP or a deep link or other ways. And then you have a description. What you do is you kind of upload a design for how your portal looks.
A PNG file, okay.
Right? It could be an image, it could be a 3D model. It's up to you. You click save, and basically a portal is created.
So again, an image with a hyperlink. Why does the portal URL say HTTPS? I thought it was supposed to be MHTTP.
Now what you can do is you can preview the portal. Right? So you land in this entrance world that's full of greenery. It's very serene. And just now, if you were paying attention, you'll see this little sort of purplish looking portal that leads you to virtual Toryland, right? You can jump right in. You go in. And there's like a brief pause because it's changing your worlds.
It's loading. Yeah, I get it. I've played MMOs before. Thank you. This is Kyle. The closest I've ever been to Japan is watching anime. Yeah, I think I'd probably say that. Or I do remember one time in elementary school, we had this sort of like international it was sort of like show and tell, except that you're having you're sharing the cultures your family came from and that kind of thing. And I remember there was a family who had immigrated from Japan, and like the kid's mom cooked us authentic Japanese food. And so I forget what, I just remembered that this happened. And so in any legitimate sense, that's probably the closest I've ever come to visiting Japan, is that someone from Japan made Japanese food, and it wasn't like Americanized or reprocessed or something. So yeah, like it was like International Week or something like that. I forget. It was one of those elementary school things from way back in the olden days, where we appreciated people for things other than what they looked like, you know? Anyway, sorry. Let me get back to the show.
And then you land in this sort of purple theme-ish metaverse land that reminds you of actual Japan. You can go back to the forest land, but you don't have to. And of course, like you can discover, roam around this land and see what you can actually do with it.
Yeah, it's an instance. That I've played MMOs. It's an instance. You're wandering around in an instance. Yes.
It's playing games or singing or buying things.
Why don't you show that? Why don't you show what you can do? So far I see empty 3D generated spaces with the graphical fidelity of 1997. I just, okay.
It depends on the where you landed. Again, this works completely not just in browsers, but also in VR.
I would hope it works in VR, but if I can use it through a browser, then why wouldn't I just use a browser? Okay, we only got a couple minutes left. Strangely enough, it feels like we've been here forever, but it's almost done. It's almost done.
All right. So enough demos.
Thank goodness.
Right?
Yeah.
Shown you, if you remember a little bit about how you can create your own metaverse.
I'm not creating my own metaverse. I am building a store page with a glorified Angel Fire website with predetermined assets. It's not creating a metaverse. I'm in fact actually contributing to an existing metaverse, if I'm being generous. It's not my own. I don't control it.
Right? In a few minutes' time.
No.
And secondly, I've also shown you how you can connect your metaverse.
Yes, I've built a web page and I have shared a URL. Okay.
To someone else's metaverse.
Yeah.
But I'm here today mainly to ask you a favor.
Oh, okay.
I want to ask all of you a favor.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I want to ask all of you to pay attention to this space.
I have been doing nothing but paying attention to everything you've presented so far.
Because the metaverse is going to be the next generation of our internet.
Why? What is the utility of the metaverse beyond a web browser? What can the metaverse do for me that a web browser cannot? That's the primary question. Well, I mean, there's lots. I have lots of questions, but that's my first sort of overarching question. You need to prove to me, or at least demonstrate, the utility of a metaverse interface for going to glorified web pages rather than just using a browser.
So everything, all the decisions that collectively we make about the metaverse is going to impact all digital lives.
How do you know that?
Are we interested in a walled garden version of the metaverse where you're sort of trapped in this world that's great, but you can't go anywhere else?
I don't know.
Or do you want something that sort of harkens back to the original internet or the original web?
Oh, the images you showed us, the graphics and textures and everything really does harken back to the original web.
And even to a large extent, today's web, where you have freedom of navigation, freedom of travel. You don't like this website, you go to another one.
Okay, well, what metaverse can I travel to from the double metaverse right now? I mean, could I conceivably go to Meta's metaverse from the double metaverse? Is that how that works? I'd be at least interested to see a demonstration of that. But then, again, why not just use a web browser so I can get up and go to the bathroom without having to take on and off giant TV goggles or stumble around my living room?
Right. Or you like this website, and this website recommended a similar website, and you follow the link and you visit there.
I can do that right now. I don't need goggles.
If we're interested in a metaverse that's truly open, meaning anyone can create, where the hurdles of creation is you don't have to be a great programmer, where anyone can create their own metaverse world.
Yeah.
And if you're interested in a connected metaverse where, people, all of us are truly connected to one another, whether
use Twitter. Again, it's one of those things where it's like, there's nothing new under the sun except the history you don't know. And I've said it several times now, and it's the first example that comes to my mind. This is Angel Fire for the metaverse. That's it. I mean, you need to give me something more than what you've shown to convince me that it's worth any time I have to put into it.
Whether at the business level or individual level, then I want to ask you to connect with me, because there's a bunch of us who are interested in this vision of an open and connected metaverse.
Yeah, I've been interested in an open and connected metaverse since Johnny Mnemonic. since I read Neuromancer, the idea of cyberspace and putting on some goggles and like having this giant world you can go here, there, and otherwise. But even in Neuromancer, you were almost literally plugging your brain into the net. It wasn't just putting on a pair of goggles. You were sort of connecting your mind, your neural pathways or something into having sort of a quasi semi-physical representation in this cyberspace world. I cringe at the idea of that ever becoming a reality, but that's not what we have. We have television monitors or computer monitors strapped to your eyeballs, doing the exact same thing in a 3D generated space that you could do sitting at your desk chair, clicking through a browser. What is the advantage of a metaverse? How is it not simply a novelty and a glorified MMO?
A future internet that's open, connected, and truly free.
Okay. The internet being open, connected, and truly free is a completely separate conversation about laws on free speech and liability and so on and so forth. It's got nothing to do with the metaverse. I mean, the metaverse would be part of that, but the internet as a system in that conversation doesn't require the metaverse to be involved. Do you think that the metaverse is going to create a new internet that won't be regulated in some way, that won't be policed in some way, that will just be safe and have no problems, no downsides, all upsides? What lessons have we learned from the current internet? Right? These same things will exist on your Web3 metaverse internet. They just will. We know that, because humans are humans, and we've got plenty of evidence to show it.
So connect with me if you think this is an important topic and you're interested, because we have a community going. And you can find me on LinkedIn. Just search Andrew Kwan Stanford or Andrew Kwan Metaverse. Or you can find me on Twitter. My handle is Andrew Kwan 8888 with 4 8s.
4 8s. You know, wasn't there a yeah, the 5 8s account? That's all that just suddenly came to my mind. There was a scandal long ago, a banking scandal, where a trader, Trader, was working for a British bank in, I think it was Singapore, and he ran this amazing scam where he was betting high and hiding the losses, and he hid the losses in this secret account that was just the number 8 5 times, the 5 8s account, because 8 was, I think, a lucky number in Singapore culture or something. God, what was that guy's name? It's on the tip of my tongue. I just watched something about that not too long ago. Anyway, somebody in the chat's going to go, oh, Nick Leeson. Yes, Spud Gun, Nick Leeson. Yeah, Barings Bank. Yes, Barings Bank. The oldest bank in Britain, I think it was. The Queen had an account there, etc. And this one guy brought down the whole bank with his fraud. Anyway, yeah, so sorry. I completely tangential thought, but then I haven't had a whole lot to think about when it comes to this presentation.
Thank you for your time, and I look forward to co-creating the open and connected metaverse together. Thank you.
Okay. Bye. All right. Well, I mean, I kind of said my piece over the course of this entire deal, so I don't think I have anything else to add to that. More questions than I got answers, more uncertainties than I feel assured. So anyway, let's go on to the bingo card. There might not be a whole heck of a lot to do on the bingo card this time. I don't know. I'll have to go over it. So I'm going to go over it one more time by myself. Let's make sure I have it updated. So this is how the bingo card looks right now. Fairly sparse. He was very laser focused on his subject matter and a lot of repetition. So we might not have a whole heck of a lot to do, but let's go over it. Anecdote that probably never happened. He never gave us an anecdote. Maybe something within his presentation could be extrapolated into an anecdote. I'll leave that up to you guys. Self-vilification or wretchedness. He didn't really talk about himself that much, but when he did, it wasn't, I'm part of a problem or something. Systemic or institutional? I am going to circle this just because of his constant mentioning of storefronts and the internet and changing the internet and so on. It'll be the new version and a little bit. Weightless example. I mean, honestly, truth be told, his entire showcase of his, and I'm saying his, I don't know. I have no idea if he has any business relationship with this double thing. I don't know. But insofar as it was his primary example throughout the presentation, his entire use of the double thing was a weightless example because it never proved to me that I need the metaverse or I need to have goggles on my head to affect any of the functions or the services that he was presenting. Like, why do I need this to be a metaverse? Why isn't this just a website? What is the point? Word salad. I mean, I understood what he was saying throughout. It didn't ever feel like it was all just babble for the sake of babble. But he did repeat himself fundamentally so many times. I don't know. Is that word salad? I'll let you guys tell me. Leaves out vital context. Yeah, the whys, the wherefores, the utility, the downsides. This is something else that I want to bring up. And same thing happened during the NFT TEDx a couple of weeks ago. Whenever I hear someone tell me that they have a product or a service or an idea or something that is like, it solves all these problems or it enhances everything, it's great. Obviously, the old axiom remains true. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Well, in this case, there's limitations to this, at least right now, that he never mentioned. There's downsides to it. You know, everybody who interacts with this thing has to own a pair of VR goggles and have a VR set, right? Otherwise, the whole thing falls apart. What's the point of having a metaverse store if someone else can just go to Amazon? Like, why does a metaverse store become a more attractive option for someone than simply going to Amazon or eBay or something else, right? You have to sell me on that. Or if you're not there yet, if you're still developing that, if you're still figuring that out, at least tell me that you're figuring it out. So leaves out vital context. Yeah, I didn't hear anything about why I should use this versus a website, right? Or a web page or an Angel Fire or something. Collectivize his own demographic. He never brought up anything like that as far as I can tell. I'd have to be really reaching. White supremacy, no. A list, yes. He had the 3 steps, create, connect, and so on. So that was a formal list in the presentation. Privilege. No, he never bring. I mean, there's sort of an assumed privilege that you have the money to spend on a VR set or whatever, but he never really brought it up in the presentation. He never even acknowledged that it does have a cost to even interact with this metaverse in the first place, and that ultimately you're going to have to pay a subscription fee. Right? I mean, at some point during the course of creating your metaverse store on double.store, they're going to ask for your credit card, right? Plays victim, no. Attempt to coin new buzzword, buzz phrase. You know what? There is the word attempt in there. Do I lean on the word attempt when he said something I like to call immersion? It doesn't say it has to be a successful attempt, right? It's my show. I'm going to call executive privilege on this one. I'm going to say he did attempt to coin new buzzword, buzz phrase, even though it wasn't. So you can judge the quality of the attempt. Wage gap. He never brought up economy. I mean, he brought up like storefronts and things, but never brought up wage gap. Patriarchy, no. Feminism, no. He never brought up the gender wars. Mind reading assumes motives. Yeah, that anybody would want to use this without some more information or some more persuasion. You know, if you want to connect with me, contact me here. But Why would I want to? I don't feel like I was sold on this, if you can believe it. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. If I was being really generous, I'd say like an open and free internet is about as inclusive as you can get. There was an implication there, but I don't know. That might be a Mr. Fantastic stretch. Marginalization. No, I never said the words and nothing ever really came about of that. Argumentative non sequitur. Argumentative non sequitur. I don't know that I haven't already. The things I'm thinking of are already like the weightless examples, so I might need some help with that one. Childhood or family antidote. Surprisingly enough, you never brought up his family, or, as a kid, I used to XYZ, so nope. Contradicts own point or argument. Contradicts. I mean, he didn't prove his argument. I don't know that he Actually, he did contradict it because he kept saying, in addition to using the metaverse or VR, you can also use a website or a browser. Like, well, then what is the point of having VR? What's the point of the metaverse if I'm just using a browser, a two-dimensional thing? I thought it was about immersion. Yeah, I'm gonna circle that one. Benevolent condescension. I never got the sense he was being condescending. He was very enthusiastic. He was obviously very pumped on this subject. I never felt like I was being talked down to. But, I mean, there were some, I guess, convenient omissions. I don't know if that quite counts. And lastly, microaggressions or unconscious bias. I didn't get anything out of that. So that's the card as I have it. If you guys have arguments for squares to be circled, put them in the chat now. If I happen to miss it, please just repost it because I'll try to come to as many as I can spot here. Smudge. I'm not sure if he was talking about selling real world products or products that only exist in the metaverse. I didn't pay the closest of attention. I assume it could be one or the other. I assume it's one or the other because he had like that little Minecraft sword on one side of things. And then, so yeah, presumably you could conceivably sell either, I guess. But I'm also assuming that most of the time it's going to have to be digital assets because otherwise, if you have a physical storefront, how do you show off that product? Like, I guess the dream would be I go to a virtual clothing store with my avatar that is effectively a representation of my proportions in the real world, and I go up to the virtual representation of that suit or those pair of pants or something. And then I try them on my virtual avatar and look in the virtual mirror to see how they virtually fit. And then I decide, aha, they're going to look fine. They're going to fit fine. I'm going to order them. And then they show up in physical form later on. I guess that maybe is the dream. I don't know. Spud Gun, it was just a retread of Web 1.0. It was the internet with different window dressing. That's all I saw. If there's something else to it, if there's some other utility to it, I didn't see it. Yvonne Solomon, yeah, like Scribe was saying, if it's just a glorified browser, why not just use a regular computer? Yeah. Why stand in my living room, put on a pair of goggles that push screens up to my eyeballs and go to a virtual store when I can just sit in my computer and do it on Amazon? Why would I want to use, and not specifically our speaker's example, but just the metaverse in general? Why would I want to use a metaverse over just the control I have looking at a screen? Save for the novelty factor, right? I mean, as far as I can tell, and I'm happy to be corrected or I'm happy to be informed elsewise, what currently exists with things like VR chat or Roblox is probably the extent of the utility of the entire endeavor. Outside of that, I don't see why I would want to use this for anything else. But again, I'm happy to be proven wrong in the future. Who knows? Let's see. Any other arguments for squares? Yeah, this is a fairly Spartan presentation as far as like different ways to go about it. It was a lot of repetition. It was a lot of coming back to the same points over and over again. The examples were meant to illustrate the same argument. again and again. So I'm not sure that there might not be a bingo here at all. But you guys let me know. Second Life did all this 15 years ago. Exactly. Just without the VR goggles. But you could conceive. Is Second Life still around? Because everything that he showed, like I said before, it just looked like Second Life. It looked like Star Wars Galaxies. You could set up your own store in Star Wars Galaxies. They had a whole intricate crafting system before they did the new game or whatever they did when they revised the whole system and made it all so much more simple. You could have your own store. You could sell merchandise that you crafted yourself in that game. I mean, Star Wars Galaxies, Second Life, there was a period of time there where this stuff was already being done. You know, it just didn't have the goggles at the time. So what do the goggles add that those platforms can't still do? Like, Advocates Diablo, Internet Lawnmower Man style. Yeah, Lawnmower Man, Johnny Mnemonic, Neuromancer. Well, not so much Neuromancer because and even Johnny Mnemonic, you're technically plugging sort of part of yourself into the net. It's that whole sort of nervous system / half of your spiritual self into the cyberspace. Something like that. Let's see. I don't see a lot of arguments in here. I'll check it out. Faithless. He was trying to turn Metaverse itself into its own new buzzword, making Metaverse into a catch-all for VR like Band-Aid for all bandages. I suppose. Yeah, I already circled attempt to coin new buzzword buzz because he attempted it. Wasn't successful, but he attempted it. Something I like to call immersion. I think we've been hearing about immersion in games and things forever. So let's see. Yvonne Solomon, do you own the physical thing if you buy it in the metaverse? If not, I still don't see how the metaverse is any different from The Sims. I suppose technically, if it's an NFT on the blockchain, then you would own that thing on the blockchain. If the only way you could possess a 3D virtual item in any metaverse is through an NFT on the blockchain, that might be the only instance in which you could conceivably own something that no one else could have possession of, because otherwise they'd just be taking a screenshot of an angle of it. So yes, but the physical thing, yeah, well, I mean, physical in the sense of the metaverse. Yeah, the metaverse might be the only place in which the whole NFT blockchain thing makes any sense whatsoever, because right now we're still dealing with two-dimensional images. So yeah, if you had a unique sword or a unique outfit that only one digital copy ever existed of and someone couldn't take a picture of it or just recreate it themselves with Microsoft Paint and then upload it to their, I don't know. I'm trying. I don't think there's much here. Let's see. Smudge, but we're probably not getting a bingo. This was not a woke scold struggle. Yeah, it was very topic specific. He was very focused on this one thing, and there wasn't a whole lot of variety. He didn't give a lot of backstory. Like if he'd said something like, when I was a kid, I went to the movies and I remember seeing, Lawnmower Man or Johnny Mnemonic, or I used to watch Reboot. And I know I'm probably stretching further back than our speaker's age, but you know what I mean. If he could relate it somehow to something that he was dreaming about when he was a kid or something, we'd have some more blocks, some more squares. Yeah, I think we're done. I don't really see a whole lot here. This was it was a long 16 minutes is not a short TEDx. Most TEDx's go anywhere from 10 to maybe 15 minutes. He had 16 minutes, and throughout the course of it, there wasn't a whole lot there. And so consequently, I didn't learn a whole heck of a lot, and I certainly wasn't convinced of the utility or the specialness or the necessity of a metaverse, whether it's, Angel Fire metaverse or, Angel Fire should make a comeback building metaverses, right? If that's all it is to create a metaverse store, I think Angel Fire has a second life coming its way. Anyway, everybody, I think I'm going to call that there. Kind of a little bit of a truncated episode, but not too bad. But if you didn't already know, I have a metaverse of my own. Yes, indeed. I guess I kind of do. It's on Discord. I have my own Discord, which is sort of like a metaverse of a kind. It's a little corner of the internet that you can come and interact with other fans of my streams and my channel, if you'd like. I'm going to put the link to that in the chat right now. It is good for one day. And if you'd like to join my Discordiverse, all you have to do is go to that landing page you end up on when you click that link. And if I or my moderators don't recognize your nickname offhand as a regular viewer, all you have to do is use today's secret word to let everybody know, myself included, that you watched this episode to its relative conclusion. And today's secret word is double. Might as well give some free advertising to our speaker. Why not? So just go to that if you'd like to join the Discord and say double, and we'll know that you watched the show to its conclusion. Another programming note, I assume I will have a Sunday stream this weekend. I only say that because real-world work stuff may intrude. I don't know for sure yet. It all depends on how things go tomorrow and Saturday, because I'll probably be working on Saturday as well. So if you'd like to keep tabs on what I'm up to, either, join the Discord or follow me on Twitter. I'll announce one thing one way or the other, whether I'm doing a Sunday stream or not, at scribe_light. Let's see. A couple of shout outs while I'm thinking about it. Some of my old time friends here on YouTube. If you don't know about Sinatra Says, look up Sinatra Says. And right now his channel is called The Silent Sin. I think that's his main channel for activity right now, but you can find links to all of his associated channels on his YouTube page. Also look up Irate Alex, my friend in the UK. He does great talk show stuff. Also look up P Dog Night. He has a daily morning show where he discusses current events and his opinions on said events. So go check out P Dog Night. And of course, check out Ranting Monkey. If you like J Random streams when he feels like it, and he's got a lot of opinions on a lot of things, and he's a very intelligent individual, most of the time, go check out Ranting Monkey. But with that, everybody, I'm going to call it here. I want to thank you all for joining me for this journey into the metaverse. Still not sold on it. I think this is the second or third TEDx talk I've done that is trying to sell me on the metaverse. 3 different speakers, no sale so far, but who knows what the future will bring. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things. Even though everyone here is so well behaved, you have very, very little to do. Everybody who's donated either to myself or to the fundraisers pinned to the top of the chat box, thank you so much for your generosity. It is very much appreciated. I hope you all have a good rest of your Thursday. I hope you have a good Friday, a good weekend ahead of you. I hope you are all safe and well. If you're not well, maybe the metaverse can help. Or please get well soon. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.